Those of you with us last year in sunny Dublin will remember that we had a presentation by Melanie Brooks, and Melanie is head of global comms for Care International in Geneva. And it was a very open acknowledgement that although Care International was doing a lot, they hadn't got measurement figured out exactly. This is what happened next, just to remind us.
I think we're in the healthcare business. I'm happy to help you out with finding out the right solutions. I think you should go global. Okay. You should take the lead from a global center and it sounds very black and white, but impose a system upon your organization. So I'm happy to help you there. I'm happy to provide you with the roadmap, how we introduced it in our own company for free. And I think there's a lot of providers here in this room who can answer your last question. Can this be done for a budget for a charity organization? I think we should...
Fantastic.
Someone should step up here and make it happen.
Thank you.
So the man making the offer to help, it's quite nice seeing that again actually, was Andre Manning, who's with us today. Andre is Vice President and Global Head of External Comms for Royal Philips Electronics and a great supporter of Amex's work.
It's not about the money, money, money. We don't need your money, money, money. We just want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. Ain't about the cha-ching, cha-ching. Ain't about
Budget for measurement goes with size of the people who want to communicate. No. I won't take too much of your time. I will take you only back indeed. It was great to see the video of last year, Barry. Last year in Dublin, I saw a damsel in measurement distress, a little Red Riding Hood about to be eaten by measurement wolves. And Melanie asked for help in figuring out how our organization should perceive media measurement among 200 measurement professionals. And Barry, you showed the visual. I said, we've been going through the same kind of situation 4 years ago, in 2009, when we installed and designed our measurement system across the company. And I said, I'm there to help you, and I'm there to share our knowledge, our experience, our learnings, our pitfalls, but also the people that helped us to design it. So I think that's happened. In the meantime, you've been working hard with measurement. I think you're already a measurement evangelist, where John, the question is still out. And nobody replied to my tweet yet. Is John a measurement evangelist? So the next 25 minutes, I hope that we get a lot of answers. Let me introduce you, Melanie Brooks. She will share with you an exciting journey, how to get measurement on the minds of the people that matter internally at Care International.
Thank you, Hi, my name is Melanie, and I was giggling at that clip because the expression on my face was pretty accurately reflecting what was going on in my mind, which was, what just happened? So fortunately, as Andre said, he and Ketchum have been helping us on our measurement journey. So just introduce you a bit to, introduce you a bit to Care. So this is 1 year later. Last year, sorry, people got a really cool video last year. This year, you're just gonna get a story from me. And I know it's right before lunch, so I'll try and keep your attention. And I have a tendency to kind of pace a bit. So we're a bit of a different organization. We are a charity. So CARE is one of the biggest aid organizations in the world. And we fight poverty and social injustice, and we respond to emergencies in poor countries. And we put a special focus on women and girls because over the past almost 70 years that we've been in existence, we've seen that actually working through women and girls can make a bigger impact. So I'm going to come back to that word, impact, and outcomes in a bit. Anybody heard of the care package? The Americans, please, you must have heard of it. Yes, show of hands. All right, there we go. That's us. So the care package actually started after World War II as a care package. It was a box of stuff that we shipped overseas. We haven't done a very good job at maintaining that as being part of our identity. So moving forward, we're actually going back to looking at ways that we can build that emotion around our brand. And then how do we measure that? How do we track that? So there's a lot of really good stuff about our organization. It's fantastic. Last year, we helped 122 million people around the world fight poverty, get education, have safe drinking water. This has a huge impact on the people that we work with. And we do a really good job at this. I mean, I've been with CARE for 9 years. I love the organization. The people are fantastic. I've worked in the field. I've seen what we do. I used to live in Indonesia, Thailand, Tanzania. And we actually do a good job of measuring and evaluating our work in our projects. So I'll tell you a story. Last year I was in Niger. There was a massive drought that affected countries in West Africa, and you had millions of people that didn't have enough food to eat. So you had children that were malnourished. And there was this one little girl, like many of the kids there. She was a year, and you've seen, I don't need to put the photo up here, you've seen the photos, the distended belly, teeny tiny arms, skeletal face. It was horrific. CARE responded. We provided emergency assistance. We worked with her mom to become part of a savings group. So her mom is now getting involved in training other women about safe nutrition, starting small businesses so that they can buy nutritious food for their kids. And this year, about a month ago, we actually went back and we followed up with this little girl, and she's just chubby little thing with the cheeks out to here and the fat little arms. Like, she looks like the Michelin baby. It's just fantastic. Anyway, so that is very clearly an outcome. This is it. We put in the input, you got some nutritious food, outcome, happy chubby baby, and a mom that can continue to keep that child happy and chubby. So that's one example of our measurement. Another one, ROI. We know that for every extra year that a girl goes to school, she'll increase her income by 10 to 15% a year as she gets older. So that's pretty clear return on investment. Yeah, when it comes to the media measurement, we don't have that. So we're not very good at the measuring what we do in terms of our communications work. And I think we can all agree, I mean, CARE and many other charities like us, we do important work, and it is important that we get the message out there, but that we're using our resources properly, because I don't want to waste money, because that's money that could go to helping more people. So I want to make sure that my comms team around the world is actually doing the right stuff. So last year, I came and I asked you, how can we improve this? What do we do? What do you guys think? We explained some of the challenges. CARE is a global organization. We've got 14 member offices. So those are the offices that actually come up with the programming and they do the fundraising. But they also do their own approach to media measurement. And most of it isn't very good. So most of it is it's clippings, and it hasn't really changed. There's one office, Australia, that does a fantastic job of analyzing what it actually means. But the other offices, not so much. And we all knew that this was something that we needed to improve on, and we wanted to. So the will was there, but we just had no idea what to do next. So you all saw the clip. And this is the damsel in distress narrative that Andre, and particularly David, wherever David is, loves telling the story. And of course, my version of events, it's more like this. So it's kind of Phillips and Ketchum to the rescue. And you've all seen Andre and David, so I'm not going to say which one in the photo is which, but anyway, I would like to say a big thank you, because even though we knew we had to do this and the will was there, we had no idea how, and there is no way that we would have gotten as far as we came today without Phillips and without Ketchum, so thank you. And I know that we came on to a different song, but the song that I was thinking about when Barry asked me, and I was like, I don't know what song to do. It was the first thing that popped into my head was Evita. He was like, where do we go from here? Very wistful and So we now have a bit of somebody else said they weren't going to sing. I did, sorry. we actually kind of know where we're going to go. So the Philips Care journey began last year, and the goal was to help Care International and our 14 member offices and our 60 country offices actually try and figure out if the communications work we're doing is working and it's the most effective way to do it. We had our first challenge in March, was to convince a room full of communications experts, about 20, from all of our member offices, those 14 offices, and a few of our country offices as well. Those are the countries in the developing world, that this is actually possible. Because what we want to do it globally. We don't want to be doing everybody doing their own little thing. It's not efficient. It's not economies of scale, and it's not who CARE is. We're an NGO. We do things together. We like to be participatory. So we had David and Ben Levine from Ketchum, come to our meeting, our global communications meeting in March. And they started taking us through a goal-setting session and explaining what media measurement is. And they had this fantastic presentation, and they got through about half of it because our people, bless them, but what does that mean? And how do I do that? And oh my God, I never even thought about that, did you? So every time they put up a new slide, there was all this like frantic whispering in the room as people realized how little we actually knew and how much we were learning that we needed to get more involved in. So, and then we actually, so they took us through a draft scorecard. Before the meeting, I worked with Ben and David and gave them, I think we did 4 of our key markets, and basically we wanted to see how we compared and if we could come up with a draft scoring approach. To you guys, this is all like, oh yeah, draft scoring approach, that's fine. To us, it was like, this is really cool. So this is the first time we could see it. So this, as soon as they put this up in the meeting in March, all of the people were like, no, leave that slide up. And what does that mean? And how do I explain that to my boss? And how do I do that? So it really was, people got excited by this and realized that this was a way that we could finally speak to the senior management about what we do and how we compare. And because we get, these are 2 of our peer agencies, Save the Children and Oxfam. And Oxfam does these fantastic reports, and they're really vocal on advocacy. And every single time they come out with a new report, you get the CEO or the Secretary General in whatever one of our offices going, why can't we do that? So this actually gave us some information about what we do well, which is, we do really well with getting our spokespeople in. So this is just a little tiny snapshot, but already people were starting to talk about, oh, okay, we can focus on that. That's where we've got an edge. So we want to build on that and move forward. Defining a scoring approach, we went through just some of the examples of what we would track, key messages and who our target audience is and that kind of thing. We're still working with them. Again, you guys, I probably don't have to spend time on this because you guys know about this. But we're still working with them. We all provided our feedback in terms of what we want in a scoring approach, and some of the terms didn't really resonate with us. Like, what is consumer? It's not terminology that we use in the NGO world, for example. So there was a little bit of adapting there. And then we came to our first obstacle. So we're moving along in the goal setting session, and Ben and David set up their great exercise where we're all going to break off into groups and take our different target audiences, and based on our objectives, we're going to come up with goals. And we're like, great, what are our objectives? We all kind of looked at each other and realized that we didn't know. So we've been doing communications because we know it's good and we know it's important, and you get in the media, and that obviously is going to lead to awareness, and that might convince somebody to donate. But what exactly are we supporting? Our organization's objective is to fight poverty. But what are the more specific things? So the thing that we realized was we need to coordinate more with our fundraisers, with our program people, advocacy, and really be coordinated. And somebody else mentioned that in an earlier speech, be coordinated about how we're coming up with our organization's objectives. And we started doing that and realized it takes a lot of time. So the reason why I was a little bit nervous coming in because I was a little embarrassed that we hadn't progressed as much as I wanted to in the past year. But this really slowed us down. So actually the IKEA presentation really made me feel better that, even in a really big professional organization in the private sector, it takes a bit of time as well. And Philips has been really good in being that sounding board and saying, yes, okay, these are the steps that you have to go through and you can't skip them. So success, sort of. So this is the first time that we actually got it in. This is a strategic objective for CARE International as a global organization that we will establish a media measurement system. So half of the room wanted to start on this right away, and the other half were kind of on the fence. They agreed that it was important, but they're still not entirely believing that we can actually do this. It's like Norway saying, I don't think they're going to get the Norwegian market, and Austria saying, I don't think they're going to get the Austrian market. So we got most of the offices on board, and those actually represent the biggest bulk of our organization. And so what we kind of agreed is we would go forward in phases, which may actually work best because then we can work out the kinks in the more dedicated offices and then involve the doubters later. So what do we want in the media measurement system? We've come up with a list of items. You probably know a lot about this. I think one thing that I didn't put on here but has come up, and I just really want to stress this because you guys are the media experts, media measurement experts, and what I need and what every single one of our offices needs is a way to convince our senior leadership that we add value, that this is important. So this isn't even showing the draft scorecard or not even at that point. To start off with, even just a standard presentation or a tailored presentation would be fantastic, but to show my bosses that if you don't do this, you're lagging behind and you are wasting money, basically. And your communications can do this and this and this if you only. And that will really help us. And it's come up, we need a seat at the table. One thing that changed between last year and this year is, I like blowing my own horn, but Barry asked me to say it. So last year I was the Media and Communications Coordinator. This year I am the Head of Global Communications. That was something that I pushed for and my communications people around the world pushed for, was that seat at the table, because we had a head of finance, a head of fundraising, a head of advocacy, a head of program, and a media and communications coordinator. So even just looking at the organogram, it's showing, oh yeah, the fluffy little people over there. So we're now on the senior management team. We are now at the same level. And as we're moving forward in our organization, we're going through a transformational change process. That puts us in the car with the people that are doing the driving at least, so we're not running along behind going, wait! I don't know if you want me to go through all of this. Obviously, the main point of this is we want something global. We want to be doing this globally. So we want a standardized measurement system, so standard scoring approach, standard KPIs. If we do it slightly differently in each of the offices, we still want to be measuring the same thing, so comparing apples to apples so that we can track our progress. So we want that global thing, but to be able to be tailored to the market. So language, an extra couple of messages, because CARE Denmark focuses more on climate change, and CARE US focuses more on girls' education. So the standard message, we fight poverty by empowering women and girls and we respond to emergencies, but also those tailored messages. Identifying the audience, the scoring, case-sensitive searching. Oh, good luck to anybody that does our measurement system, because our name is CARE. Try doing a Google search for CARE. And we've had, I remember when I first started doing media monitoring with an organization in Canada, and we got healthcare, car care Canada, and every possible association with care, old age care. And it was just this constant battle. So we need that case-sensitive searching. Monthly reporting scorecard, a baseline analysis to compare to. And this one here, and people have pointed this out, the human touch. We're really concerned about that, especially with a global approach. We don't want to lose that ability to call somebody up or to understand our individual markets. So I may be creating another damsel in distress moment. because, and I know some of you people now, so you're not wolves, it's okay. But we will be putting together an RFP. And so we've decided that we want two options because we are a charity. The global financial crisis has hit charities as well, and it hasn't disappeared. So we want two options. One is kind of a light version that we would start off with trying to use that standard KPIs and standard measurement, but not necessarily having a media measurement system company do that for us. But we would add that later. And the second one, if we can cobble together all the money and convince our senior leadership to dedicate the money to this, we would want the bells and whistles. Well, simple, but the bigger package. A trial version to start with, flexibility for offices to opt out after a year if they're not happy. And these are the offices that are generally interested, and then some offices that are going to wait and see. So that's essentially the story of the Kerr Phillips Ketchum journey over the past year. I don't know if anybody has any questions or suggestions or criticisms. I open it up. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone with something to add to Melanie's presentation or contribute to the last slide we saw?
First of all, I just want to say congratulations on your new job title.
Thank
I
you.
think we all are really thrilled with that. And real full credit to Philips for having stepped up. I think it's very exciting to come 1 year later and see something tangible that came out of last year for this. One thing I'd like to ask, though, as well, is in terms of the different markets and all the different cultures involved, what would you say were the top 3 resistances you got from your global team? You could make 1 if you want, but I said 3.
I mean, again, we're an NGO, so cost was one of the biggest ones. Some of the smaller offices, they get an intern to do the clippings. And so they said, well, if it's going to cost me more than $500 a year, then I'm not going to do it. And we're like, well, it's probably going to cost you a little bit more than that. The other one is, the big thing is, we're different. And it was yesterday somebody pointed that out. Oh, in France, we're different. And it's the same thing for Sao Paulo and Saudi Arabia, et cetera, et cetera. It's true. So we need something, we need to reassure them, but realistically, so this needs to be true, if we reassure them, that they will still get all of the clippings that they used to get in their market, that it won't be some American firm or British firm or French firm that just gives half of the attention to Norway, and Norway suddenly their number of clippings plummets and their quality of service goes down. Now, everybody I've talked to says that won't happen if you get the right company doing it. But those are the 2 biggest things, actually.
If you need anything Moreover has, you'll have it for free in your RFP process. So we'll answer your call with our software if you need it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You should do more of these conferences.
Would you also like to donate to CARE? Anyone?
Sandra, one quick question, please.
This is on. It's more of an observation. I think great story. Thank you for sharing that with us. As you go through this onboarding process with your management team, with your colleagues, one of the things that I think is really successful is making those who take part feel really great. They're having an input into it, but celebrating success.
Okay.
And the more you can celebrate success and say, gosh, it's worked in this market, it can work in this market, you'll get others to come on board. It needs to come from them. I mean, we see this so often, but celebrating success is a really big part of that onboarding.
Okay, great, thank you. Very good.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Andre,
Thank you.
for facilitating.